So what I'm going to do in this video is show you how to set up Square Online shipping profiles. So first you log into the Square dashboard, log into your account, and then on the dashboard you click this online icon. Sometimes it's down here under online and then online, but usually it'll be up in the quick access. So we'll just click on that and head over to online. Once we're there, we'll be taken to the Square Online dashboard, and because there's only one site in this account, which for most of you, there'll only be one site in your account, but if there are multiple sites in your account, then there'll be an extra little box up here that you can click on that opens up another menu with all of your websites. But for most of you, again, you'll just be taken straight to your default website. And then once we're here, in this left bar like Square usually has, we have all the options and we're going to click fulfillment. Now there's three options here. We're interested in shipping, but pickup is for when you want a customer to be able to place an order online and then come pick up at the store or maybe do curbside. And then delivery refers to local delivery. So that would be using a carrier such as Grubhub or DoorDash, Uber Eats, and you can use your own carriers. But again, that's all for customers placing an order and then picking up or doing local delivery with various carrier options. Then the second option here is shipping. We'll cover that in just a moment. And the third is self-serve ordering. And once that's set up, that would let a restaurant have the customers come in and they sit down and then they place an order with a QR code, depending how you set it up, but they place an order with a QR code and then their order is brought to them, or you can have them come to the counter. But what we're interested in is shipping for retail purposes. So we'll click on shipping, and then that takes us to the shipping profile menu. Now, if you haven't set anything up, this will be all empty and you just click set up, and then it'll ask you about your shipping from location, and I'll just show you how to edit that now. So if you have multiple locations, you can ship from one location, and if you have multiple, you can select it from here. And then you set the ship from address. Now make sure that this is accurate because this will be the return address on any shipping labels that Square prints for you. It will also show up in communications to customers and it'll be very visible to the customer. So make sure you're okay with that. Put in a good address. And if you're calculating shipping rates live, then it will calculate from this address to the customer's address. So just make sure this address is accurate. Next is a phone number. This will show on the shipping label as well and in other communications. And then, of course, make sure there's an email address, but that is optional. So once you've entered that, or most likely it'll populate it, just click Save. And then the next option here is Shipping Carriers. So we'll click Manage. And then we have 4 different carriers. 2 are set up already. That's USPS and DHL. They're set up with the Weebly Merchant. See? Weebly Merchant. That's Square, Weebly, same thing. So they have an account that's set up with the USPS already, and you can't change that one. And with the right plan, you can set up your own DHL account if you want, but you can just use the Weebly Merchant account. If you prefer, you can set up a UPS account and a FedEx account that you have with them, but most of you will just be good with USPS and DHL. So we'll just click Done. After those options is Shipping Profiles. Now that's the longest section, and we're going to go over that in just a moment. After that, though, is Shipping Boxes. Now this is only relevant if you're going to do live calculation, and I'll show you why. So you click Edit, and then these are the boxes that items can go in. So you need to have the box information because shipping rates are calculated based on the box dimensions and the weight of the items. So the weight of the items all gets added up based on each item's weight that's entered in the item details where you put in the item. But then the dimensions are in the box. So you need to have multiple box options if you're going to do live calculations. You enter the box name, the dimensions, the max weight, and the max items if you like. And then you click Save and save everything. And again, this is only relevant if you're going to do live calculations, which most merchants don't do live calculations. Most merchants do some kind of flat rate plus free shipping or just altogether free shipping. The next option is printer settings. So we can edit that. Now this is for the label format. So this is for shipping labels. We have two options here, 8.5 by 11, which is of course a standard sheet of paper, or 4 by 6, which is for a thermal printer for shipping label size. And so this is what will happen. So when someone places an order and you click that print shipping label button, then this is the size that will be used for it, the 8.5 by 11 or the 4 by 6. So if you just have a printer at home and you're a home-based business, or even if at the office you have a regular printer and you want to stick to that for now, or forever even, then you would select that 8.5 by 11 option. But if you have maybe a more professional setup, you have it set up in a dedicated area at your store or something, and you have a thermal printer, then you'll want to use that 4 by 6 option. But we'll leave it on 8.5 by 11 for now. So whenever you change it, you just click save, and then it'll update. Now the last item before we go over the shipping profiles is digital item regional availability, which is a mouthful, but we'll go over it. It's very simple once you open the edit menu. So you can see that normally if all of these are checked, then all of the digital, so non-physical items, physical items, that's where somebody buys it and it gets fulfilled, a physical item. But everything besides that is considered a digital item because you're not actually sending something to them, you're selling them a promise of something else or a file or something like that. And that would be the item type event, digital item, service, donation, and membership. What this does is you can uncheck these boxes to make them unavailable worldwide. So if you're selling some kind of digital art and you only want to sell it in the US, or you have an event and you only want to sell it in, well, not just the US, but your country of origin, then you would uncheck these boxes. But if you want to sell it to anyone, anywhere, then you would keep all these boxes checked and they would be available anywhere in the world. So once you have these set up the way you want, just click save. And lastly, we're going to set up shipping profiles. So to do this, because I don't have any setup, we're going to click setup. I'm going to name this default since it's the first, and I'll make it the default. Now what makes it the default is selecting this option, and new items are included in this default automatically. Now you have two options here, default and custom. Custom lets you select specific items here. You can click here and then select any items, but we'll stick with default. Then once you're past that, you can select the countries that this shipping profile applies to. So I'm just going to select United States, which includes all 50 of the United States plus Washington, D.C. And then there's also three other options that are likely relevant. Well, four really. So there's the United States, which is again 50 states plus Washington, D.C. There's also the option of United States and territories, which includes all 50 states, Washington, D.C., America, Samoa, Puerto Rico, and any other territories, things like that. And then there's also this rest of world option. So if you want to have separate shipping profiles for United States and rest of world, you would create one shipping profile that applies to United States or maybe United States and territories. And then you would create a separate shipping profile for rest of world. And then of course the fourth option is any of these other countries. So if you are based in one of these countries, then you would select, say, Belgium as your primary country and create a shipping profile, and then maybe rest of world as a secondary one. But we're going to assume you're in the United States and that you're not shipping anywhere but the United States. And then we'll click done. And once you're out of there, you can select which states. So all the normal states are selected by default, including the District of Columbia. But then what's not selected is, see, America Samoa, Armed Forces of the Americas, Europe, Pacific, etc. And District of Columbia is selected, but then there's these other territories that are not selected. So it really just depends where you're looking to fulfill to. But I'm just going to set up United States. But all of these options apply regardless of what countries you're looking to ship to. So you can have a default for, say, United States and another country or rest of world. There's endless options here. And lastly in here, we'll do rates. So we click add rate, and then there's several options. So we can do real-time shipping rates. Now this does require a paid account to the premium plan, but that is an option with UPS, with USPS, DHL, FedEx, depending on which ones you have set up. And this is where that box option comes in. So if you're doing real-time shipping rates, you have to make sure that you have the item weight set in the catalog page, and you also have to make sure you have the correct boxes set up so that the rates get calculated correctly, because you don't want to undercharge the customers where you're not passing on all of the shipping cost, but you also want to make sure that it's calculating accurately so it's not accidentally calculating for far more weight, say, than you're actually shipping. But most of you will use one or a combination of flat rate and free shipping. So I'll go through all of these options. So flat rate is just a straight flat rate. So we could put in a name, and you put in a name according to what you're doing. So then flat rate, you just set the rate, say $10. You can do per order, or if you have relatively standardized items that all cost similarly to ship or something like that, then you could do $2 per item, say. Now the next option here is free shipping, and we would name this, say, free shipping. And then it asks what's eligible for free shipping. So you can do this based on order total, which is right here, based on order weight, or all orders. So with the order total and the weight, it asks for a minimum and a maximum order total or weight. And then for all orders, it doesn't ask for any further information. So for order total, we could put in minimum of $100, maximum with no maximum. Or maybe we do free shipping with a minimum order weight of 100 pounds. It really just depends what you're selling and what the weight means, what the price means. It just depends on your use case. I'm just going through what options are available to you. Next is based on order weight. And this is different from free shipping based on order weight because this allows you to set different weights for different weight bands, you could say. So we could call this weight based. And then say for 1 to 5 pounds you want to do $10 shipping. So you would do shipping rate of $10, but you do no minimum because your minimum is 0. But then 5 pounds, and then you could do $15 for, say, 5.1 to 10 or so. And you can just keep adding and adding rules. And then it is good to set a fallback rate that's somewhere in the middle, just in case something falls outside the range or you kind of missed something. Usually that won't be a problem, but it's good to have a fallback rate so that the system knows what to do. The next option is based on order total. It's pretty much the same as order weight, just that instead of asking for weights here, it asks for dollar amounts. So if we want to do $10 shipping, say, for a minimum order of $0 to 50, and then we could do $15, 50.01 to 100, and so on. And then again, good to set a fallback rate in case you miss something or something falls outside of ranges, just to make sure that the system knows what to do. And the last option is based on the number of items. So it's very much the same. These three options are very similar, just asking for different information. So say you want to charge $10 for 1 to 5 items. That's how you would do that. And then $15 for 6 to 10 items, and so on. Just make sure that at the beginning and the end, unless you're setting up other more complex shipping rates somewhere else, if this is your only rate, make sure that that beginning and that end don't have minimum or a maximum at the end ranges, to make sure that anything below or beyond what you've set is included. Now you can set it such that there's a maximum of, say the minimum here is 3 for some reason, and the maximum here is 10, but it is possible that people would order 1 or 2 items or more than 10 items, and then you can supply the fallback rate of $20 for some reason. So just make sure that everything is covered. And then again, that fallback rate will be the default rate if something isn't set. If something falls outside the ranges, then you want to make sure that the system knows what to do instead of them not being charged for shipping or being charged a weird amount because it technically falls into this rule. Just making sure that all your bases are covered on making sure that the right rates get charged to the customer. Now, what I'm going to set up is I'm going to set up anything below $100 has a $10 shipping charge, and any order above $100 is free shipping. So the way we would do that is we would do add rate, do flat rate, call it flat rate, and set it to $10. We add that rate, and then the next option would be free shipping based on order total, minimum order $100. We would do done. So then what this will do is the normal rate is that flat rate, $10 per order. But since the next rate is more specific, free shipping $100 and up, then if it falls into 100 and up, it will apply this free shipping instead of the flat rate shipping. So that's how you would set up this use case. There's a lot of other use cases and specific things you can do, but that's just one example. So once we're done with this, we'll click Save, and then you can see your shipping rate set up. It's the default, and you can see all items, United States, 50 states and 1 property, which is DC of course, and then we have flat rate, $10 per order, and then free shipping, 100 and up is free. And that's how you set up the shipping rates.